go ahead and do that. Reflex arch is always going to begin with a stimulus, but a stimulus without this thing cannot be registered by the body. What's that thing that picks up on the stimulus? Okay, the receptor. Okay, so you've always got to have a receptor as the beginning of your arc. Okay, now, most of the time the receptor is a separate cell. Sometimes it's the same cell as the next part, sensory neuron. Remember, the idea is that whatever the receptor picks up on, you have to take that information to the central nervous system, and that is only possible if you have a neuron that will move it, that being the sensory neuron. Okay. Third step is, remember, the purposely vague processing step. We'll even come back to it right now, because we're going to go ahead and go to the part that always has to be there after you process it, because this is a reflex and is part of a reflex stereotypical response to a given stimuli. To have a response, you've got to have what carrying the command outwards? Motor neuron. And for that command to do any good, what do you got to have at the end of the motor neuron? The effector. Okay. So, if we're thinking about my handy-dandy automatic definition, stereotypical response to a given stimuli, okay, you got to have something to pick up on the stimuli, receptor. You got to have the pathway to move it, to process it, to take the command back, and something to respond to it. Okay, the effector. All right, that's the reflex arc. How that actually works, though, depends on the reflex in question. I give you Exhibit A. Yeah, you guys probably don't know. All right, in Exhibit A, this particular reflex, what we'll call a stretch reflex, and we will in fact be doing tonight, the idea with this reflex is that it's all about a stretch stimuli. Okay, so we have here the quadriceps, we have the patella and a tendon just underneath. If you strike just below the patella, the idea is that stretches the muscle and stretches the muscle spindle fiber. Again, receptor, muscle spindle fiber. The sensory neuron, the processing. In this case, since sensory and motor hook directly together, and there is no interneuron involved, this processing is super simple, right? Sensory directly to motor. There's only going to be one synapse. What are we going to call this type of processing connection? Monosynaptic. Okay. And you'll notice that we talk to our one motor neuron, and that goes all the way down to the effector, which in this case is the muscle. That's what has the effect. Now, if the stimulus is stretch, my effect, because it's a reflex, should negate the stretch, right? And negating the stretch is to cause the muscle to contract. Okay. Now, when it comes to reflexes, again, remember the idea with monosynaptic. Speed-wise, fast, slow, fast, extremely fast, as fast as you can get. But because there's only one connection, it has to be fast, but simple. Simple. You can only talk to one effector this way. Okay? Only one synapse means you can only talk to one effector. All right. Remember, that's not the only option. We'll show the really super complicated one, because it's fun. All right, with this particular reflex, again, we have one receptor, one sensory neuron, and then we get to our processing. And again, our processing is all complicated this time, right? All right, first off, please do note we have an interneuron. Please do note that interneuron is talking to multiple motor neurons. Because of that, there is more than one synapse. This sort of reflex is polysynaptic. Okay. Right away, speed-wise, as fast as monosynaptic? No, slower. Okay, but you get something for the slowness, right? You get... Okay, let's put it this way. Would you consider this simple? No. It's complex. You can get a complexity of response. So, one of the things to pay attention to as we go through our exercises tonight, or as you listen to this, is that if you have only a single effector in response to a particular stimulus, it might be monosynaptic, might not, okay, it'll depend. But if you have, and you know, more than one effector, that automatically means what? It's got to be polysynaptic. If you're talking to more than one effector, it automatically has to be polysynaptic, because that's complicated. You're talking to more than one thing, and that automatically means that it's slower. Okay.